What's going on, everyone? So, a report recently came out ranking the big threes on each team, and that's just kind of what everyone always does, right? Who are your three main guys, right? Who are your two stars, and then who's that third guy that's going to step up on any given night, right? It's how it's always been. It's kind of always is. Big three in today's standards isn't what it once was. Like, big three was like, Miami, Boston, like things like that, where you had these three superstars, but it is still a metric that many people use, and it's kind of put into plus minus and net rating and all that stuff. And that's what this was used. This was used by plus minus, net rating, all of that stuff. And the Lakers ranked fourth. And that was Austin Reaves, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. That makes the most sense. That was basically the big three last year. That's very likely going to be the big three this year, unless somebody else just really emerges this upcoming season. But my guess is that it's probably Austin Reaves that continues where he left off last year. So that makes sense. But have a little bit of a gripe with them at fourth. Now, the list, I don't really mind, and there is an argument every way, but Denver is the only real team that you can say, okay, like the Lakers would be second behind. And I still think LeBron, AD, and Reaves together, all of them playing their best brand of basketball, are better than Jokic, Aaron Gordon, and Jamal Murray, right? Jokic and, however you want to compare it, Jokic and AD, Jokic is the better player, fine. LeBron is better than both Murray and Gordon. And Reaves, I think, is very comparable. Maybe not to Jamal Murray, but like the impact that Aaron Gordon has, I think Reaves has as much, if not more. Right? It's just my thoughts. You might feel otherwise, but I do. So, but if you want to put Denver's big three, they just won the NBA championship, the best team in the league last year. Okay, fine. No complaints, no argument. You can have that. But then next up was the Phoenix Suns. And again, they use the metrics based on the players. But you can't use Bradley Beal's metrics and net rating and plus minus and stuff like that, because one, his role is going to be completely different. Two, they haven't played together. For all we know, it could be a disaster, right? It could be Russell Westbrook with the Lakers disaster. I don't know. I mean, my guess is it's not. My guess is it works, and it probably works well, right? Because, you have Kevin Durant, who's such a good scorer. He's so efficient and effective, doesn't need 30 shots a game to go get you 20 plus, right? Devin Booker, great shooter, Bradley Beal, right? Like, in theory, it should work and it should be great. But how can you use metrics and make an argument for something that we have never seen and we don't know if it's going to work that way? You can't use Bradley Beal's numbers last year because he was the number one option and now he's going to be the number 3 option. Right? So, like, how do you adjust that? Do you adjust that and give him a third of everything? Right? Like, if that's the case, then Austin Reaves would be better by every metric than Bradley Beal. Right? Like, so what's the parameters here? Like, what's the makeup of this ranking? Because if it's just names, then shouldn't the Phoenix Suns be number 1? And then the Lakers with Anthony Davis and LeBron James be number 2, right? Like, or the Celtics be number 2 or whatever, right? Again, the metric doesn't make sense. And the third place spot were the Boston Celtics, which again, you can't use Kristaps Porzingis because he is going to have a completely different role. And who knows how it meshes, how it gels, right? Like, if they still had Marcus Smart and you wanted to use Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, and Jaylen Brown and leave Porzingis off of it, and you rank them you rank them third, then fine. If anything, right, like, you should even put the Celtics over the Suns. Because, yes, it's the same argument of, like, their big three and the Suns' big three haven't played together, but Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have played together longer by far than Kevin Durant and Devin Booker have. And the Celtics have had success with just those two. They've been to an NBA Finals. They were just in the conference finals. They've been to several conference finals, right? Like, so again, what is the parameters? It's the same kind of gripe that I had with ESPN and their power ranking for teams. It's like, wait, so you want to put Denver up there. Okay, again, no complaints, no gripe, no nothing. And, the Lakers were like ranked 7th in that. But you go down the list and it's like, well, what is the criteria here? Because if it's chemistry or if it's this or if it's that, if it's star power, if it's whatever, like, then the Lakers should be higher, right? Like all of those things. Granted, Lakers were like 3rd in the West behind Denver and the Phoenix Suns, but like some of the teams that you put up are real question marks and have asterisks right now. Again, the Boston Celtics, maybe it's the Celtics and the Suns this year, right? And Porzingis, Tatum, and Brown are ridiculous, and they just run through the Eastern Conference, right? And maybe the Suns and the Celtics are the 2 best teams in the league, and they face off in the NBA championship. They go game 7, and one of them wins, right? That could very well happen. Could also go the opposite. Porzingis could end up hurt. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, none of those guys are like model for just health. Booker more so than the other two, but he's had some injury issues lately. And like, again, it's just like, what is the parameters here? Right? Like, if the metric is this is these 3 guys and their potential and upside is higher than the Lakers, sure, but even then, like I said, if LeBron James plays the best that LeBron James can play, Anthony Davis plays the best that Anthony Davis can play, which if Anthony Davis plays the way we know he is capable of playing, Anthony Davis is the best player in the NBA. There's nobody that can go get you 30 and 15, which he led the league in, by the way, and be the best defensive player in the league. There's nobody else that can do that. Jokic is a one-man offense by himself. He's ridiculous. But he's nowhere near the defender Anthony Davis is. Joel Embiid, great scorer, right? And is a very good defensive guy. But he's not the level Anthony Davis is. Right? Giannis is the closest thing defensively to Anthony Davis by like every metric. But he's nowhere near the offensive player that Anthony Davis is capable of. Right? So, again, if we're taking the 3 best guys playing their peak, then the Lakers have to be ranked higher. And these are all metrics based on Reaves, LeBron, and AD over the course of the entirety last season. They weren't adjusted for when Reaves got his starting role and became that 3rd guy. Because if you adjust for that, then they should definitely be 2nd behind Denver. So, again, what are we talking about here? Right? Because Austin Reaves, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis were the second best 3-man units in the league behind Denver. I mean, you're talking about Austin Reaves was the most efficient player in the league last year. Amongst guards, amongst non-centers. Sorry. Amongst non-centers was the most efficient. He was better than Steph, like KD. Like, the guy was ridiculous. Now, will he be that this year? Who knows, right? There's a lot of questions about that too, right? Is Austin Reaves going to be able to continue where he left off? Does he take a little step back? Like, how does this work out, right? But we're not using that as a parameter here. Because if we were, like, but even then, like, if you're using last year, Porzingis wasn't on the roster last year. Bradley Beal wasn't on the roster last year. KD came in towards the end and only played a handful of games before the playoffs. Like, again, like, what are we using to judge this? And that kind of seems to be the question with all of these rankings and where they put the Lakers. Because if you're ranking it based on production and potential upside, like what a normal ranking would be, then the Lakers should be top 3 or 4 in the league. I mean, Milwaukee was like 8th on this list or something like that. I don't know about that, right? Like, like they had the Pelicans, I think, were 5th with Zion, Brandon Ingram, and CJ McCollum. And again, it was based on just the efficiency and stuff like that, which, to be fair, the Pelicans were the number 1 team in the league when everybody was healthy. So, okay, you're using that, but it's just like, it's like they kind of pick and choose stats to kind of make the argument, is my point. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Where would you rank the Lakers' big 3 compared to the other big 3s in the league? How do you feel? What are your thoughts are? I'd love to hear it. Let me know.